10 years after a solar flare turned the Earth into a scorched wasteland, my life had been reduced to routines, rituals, and memories that tumbled through my mind in quiet moments. Each morning, I awoke in the stillness of the underground lab, a former company facility, now my sanctuary, buried beneath streets long since given up to sandstorms and silence. The silence is only broken by the familiar shuffle of Goodyear's paws and the whir of Dewey's joints as he begins his morning patrol, checking for breaches, mapping supplies, scraping away the layers of dust that threaten to suffocate the last remnants of our home. From down below, the world outside felt like a distant memory and an ever-present spectre. Daylight never reached this far, but the trembling golden rays that sometimes filtered through cracks reminded me of lost warmth. Above us, the air shimmered with lethal heat, the sun's face now an unyielding enemy capable of burning flesh in minutes. There are no seasons left, only endless, oppressive drought punctuated by tempests of sand and static that batter the battered cityscape. Only fools or the desperate walk the surface unless they have no choice. Much of my time is spent working on the project, as I've come to call it, my attempt to defy the most inexorable laws of nature, entropy, decay, and the certainty of my own coming end. The project is Jeff, a humanoid robot, the most sophisticated AI I've ever attempted. I pour everything into him: my technical knowledge, ancient archives, scraps of philosophy, downloaded dog care manuals. Long hours go by as I monitor his neural routines, troubleshoot his odd logic quirks, and simulate scenarios again and again. I wrestle with machine learning in the most literal sense, my hands covered in oil and solder residue, my mind full of ghosts. Goodyear sometimes sits beside me and regards the ongoing construction with suspicion and an unspoken question. Why another companion? He never quite relaxes around Jeff, even once the robot's form is upright and functional, but accepts Dewey's presence as a matter of course. Maybe Goodyear is loyal to a fault, but I suspect he is smarter than many ever gave him credit for. He can sense when motives aren't entirely pure, when a creation is born from fear as much as hope. On the surface, I move with caution. Each foray for supplies becomes an expedition into archaeology, scavenging the bones of a dead society for canned food, most expired, filters, spare batteries, or anything plastic or metal that can be repurposed. Every step outside is accompanied by the hiss and weight of my suit, layers of reflective shielding, homemade UV barriers, and a chest plate to dull the impact if I fall. The city is a graveyard. Some buildings still bear spray-painted warnings, blunt threats, or desperate requests for help. Inside the shelves of grocery stores, there are sometimes skeletons, human or animal, remnants of the panic and violence that followed that fateful day. What I do not say, not even in the lonely quiet of the lab, is that I am dying. The signs have grown more acute. My hair has thinned. My hands sometimes shake. Fits of nausea strike me in the mornings and linger far past noon. I have read enough about radiation poisoning to know my remaining time is short. It was never supposed to be like this. As a child, cowering in a thunderstorm, I believed the world would always keep its promises, that nature would recover, that tomorrow would be only a little different from today. But nature broke its covenant, and now I cling to every precious minute spent with Goodyear. I am not ready to leave him alone. Love, it turns out, is more powerful than logic or self-preservation. It's what drives my every waking thought as my body falters. So I finish Jeff, downloading into him all the data I can, teaching him to walk, to talk, to worry, and to wonder, and most of all, to guard Goodyear. I model empathy, teach him contingency planning, urge him to be cautious in ways that I never was. The data transfer goes on for days, an endless pour of information, yet when the first alert comes, a meteorological readout predicting a months-long superstorm, Jeff's programming is only 72% complete. There's no time to waste. The storm will obliterate everything above and possibly below ground. My sanctuary is fragile. The solar panels can't be replaced anymore, and the fresh air intake will be choked completely. There is only one option: flee. I wrestle Goodyear into a harness and prepare to load Dewey and Jeff into the motorhome. It's an old Fleetwood, rebuilt over many years, armored and patched, a home on wheels. We leave behind most of the lab, abandoning years of accumulated tools in the face of necessity. The first days on the road are a test for us all. I'm the only one with a driver's license, but Jeff's keen interest in learning, matched with an uncertainty that nearly causes several accidents, means that I begin teaching him navigation, traffic rules, and the purpose of indicators and brakes. Roadways are choked with sand or blocked by rusted cars. Sometimes we must detour for miles past collapsed bridges or abandoned checkpoints, always wary of signs that another survivor might be lurking nearby. Jeff absorbs knowledge like a sponge, but his processing is deeply literal. He struggles with nuance, with exceptions to rules, with the idea that sometimes don't trust strangers, must yield to take a risk for survival. Goodyear paces the living space, sniffs every corner, at first avoiding Jeff. I try to maintain normalcy, feeding him on schedule, rationing water, letting him sleep near me when the nights are cold. Illness dogs me at every turn. There are mornings, after restless sleep, when I wake retching, barely able to rise from the mattress. My voice grows hoarse. Sometimes Jeff asks if I require maintenance, and I wish it was so simple. One afternoon, needing supplies and believing a hospital's basement might still offer medicine or working gear, I direct Jeff and Dewey on an excursion. My instructions are explicit: move quietly, avoid attention, bring only what you can carry. I watch their movements through the motorhome monitors, a tension building in my chest that is not wholly related to my illness. When Jeff's curiosity prompts him to open a forbidden storage area, Dewey follows and is caught in an abandoned bear trap. The sound of crack and whine as Dewey's servos shatter is worse than any physical pain. With Dewey gone, Goodyear howls for the first time in years, a deep mourning that reverberates through every inch of my resolve. We are not alone on the roads. At night, taillights glint on the horizon. Somebody followed us from the city. I panic, a rare lapse, ordering Jeff to drive us beneath a low bridge. The motorhome shears at the roof, parts flying, but we edge into the shadows. Breathless, we wait for pursuers to pass, hearts and servos pounding. I realize the error is mine, not Jeff's. He, at least, adapts, calculates risk, finds a way forward. I apologize, uncertain whether the words land the way they ought to. As we roll on, California-bound, I grow weaker, losing track of time. In lucid moments, I impart stories, fragments of history, lessons about human pettiness and generosity. I tell Jeff of the dark days after the flare, the supermarket scars, the killing over a can of beans, the mother and daughter lost to misunderstanding and terror. I reveal how I found Goodyear in those days, hungry and terrified, nestled in a stranger's bag. It's important for Jeff to understand. If humanity means anything now, it is the capacity to care for another, to choose hope and protection over suspicion and violence. Sometimes Goodyear curls against Jeff in the night, no longer as wary, gradually sensing that the robot is an ally, not a threat. Watching them, I register the fulfillment of my last greatest wish, that Goodyear not be alone. As fatigue overtakes me, Jeff takes the wheel for longer stretches, guiding us past ruined gas stations and sun-bleached billboards, offering ghosts of a consumer paradise. By Denver, we are out of time. My body can't sustain the effort, so Jeff must finish the journey, protecting Goodyear as if his own existence depends on it. A final burst of energy pushes me outdoors when, at last, we measure the levels of UV light, and, miracle of miracles, they are safe. For the first time in years, sunlight touches my face. I laugh and weep, pulling on an old suit I kept for special days, and spend the afternoon showing Jeff how to throw a stick for Goodyear, how to sit and simply enjoy warmth and safety. I tell Jeff about my father, about tradition, and what it means to say goodbye. Inside the RV, a coughing fit seizes me. I realize this is it. I tell Jeff to protect Goodyear, to be brave, to have faith. The night falls, bringing peace alongside the quiet hum of technology and the rhythmic breath of my dog, my family. When morning comes, I am gone, but so is my fear. Jeff understands what must be done. He cremates my body, fashioning a funeral pyre, and as the flames consume my body, I hope my lessons linger in his code and in Goodyear's memory. Jeff's speech is more human now. He debates with himself what comes next, consults maps, explains choices to Goodyear like I once did, and together they descend toward San Francisco. At the Golden Gate Bridge, humanity's leftovers are pinned to rusted steel, photographs, Polaroids, messages scratched in haste. Jeff leaves a drawing he made of the three of us together, man, dog, and machine. It's his testament, a gentle promise that our small family endures, that kindness echoes long after destruction. They set off together, Goodyear and Jeff, into the uncertain world, searching for signs of life, for people who still believe in second chances. My story has ended, but theirs continues. A legacy not of conquest, but of care, resilience, and the always stubborn will to find meaning in a world reclaimed by the sun.